Hi, this is Katina, and in this video we are going to cover tuning tips for clarinetists. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe and share it with your friends. Thanks. We're going to talk about tuning in band, how to play in tune, so how to modify your embouchure and your fingers and things like that to play in tune, how to modify your clarinet so that you can play in tune more easily, how to use a tuner, how to use a drone, and general tuning tips. Let's talk about tuning in band. The very first thing that will happen is you will hear the tuning note. It is usually played by the principal clarinetist, the concertmaster, and it will be a concert B flat, which is our C. It's very, very important for you to remember that when the concertmaster plays that C, for you to not play. Listen first. It's really important to get that note locked in your mind mentally, hear it, and then play it. When tuning to that tuning note in band, just play the C itself. You could play the octave higher, you can play the octave lower, you can play a couple of fifths, you can double check some of your notes in your piece to make sure they're in tune if they match with the tuning note, but that's about it. Don't noodle around or play the Mozart clarinet concerto or anything like that. Let's take a moment to talk about blending. So blending isn't just for having a unified sound for your section and your whole band, but it's also a great way to play in tune. It's hard to figure out if you're sharp or flat, especially when you're just learning how to play in tune or if you're really close, and blending is a wonderful way to help you. So get inside that tuning note. Try and match it and sound just like that pitch that you're hearing. When you're playing in unison or octaves or thirds or fourths or fifths around you, blend into that sound. Try and match it. Try and match with the other sections when you're playing with them. By getting inside the sound of other people around you, you will improve your own tone and help fix your intonation. Now, if you haven't been able to figure out where you are with blending, this is where your tuner comes into play. Pull that tuner out just to see if you're sharp or flat so that you can make the necessary adjustments. Incorporate using a tuner in your practice sessions. Play all of the notes on your clarinet to learn what their tendencies are. So if it sounds a little weird and you're not sure what's going on, you can use your knowledge of what your clarinet's tendencies are from when you are working with the tuner to help fix your intonation then too. Your tuner is a tool, not a crutch, so you want to avoid having that tuner on your stand all the time. If you're using it in band and everybody is sharp around you, but you're perfectly in tune, you're flat. For tuner recommendations, I really like Tonal Energy. It's a very comprehensive tuner. It comes with a drone and a metronome. It's very good. You can play scales and it'll give you a graph of where your intonation is in that scale. So that's a really helpful tool to have. I also like the iStrobosoft tuner. It's a strobe tuner and they're very, very minutely accurate. So these are good tuners that I recommend. Using a drone is a really important way to improve your intonation because it's improving the most important tool that we have, our ears. Put the drone on, build the chord, and then try and lock in with playing those pitches on your own. You can play the scale with your drone, play arpeggios, even play simple songs along with your drone. That will improve your ear. This is ear training. It's a really important skill as musicians. You can even sing along with your drone. Try and lock the pitch in by singing. That will improve your clarinet intonation as well. Now it's time to talk about how to adjust your pitch so that you can match with what you're hearing around you. We will talk about raising your pitch on the clarinet and lowering your pitch on the clarinet before we talk about changing the length of your clarinet by mechanically modifying your instrument by pushing in and pulling out. If you find that when you're trying to blend, you need to pull your pitch down, there are a number of things that you can do. You can play louder. Now, not so loud that you're overpowering the people around you or it's obnoxious or you're letting your sound get away from you, but by beefing up your sound and playing a little bit more full, you will lower your pitch. You also can lower your fingers a little bit closer to the keys. It's a good habit to be in anyway because we want to be quick and accurate as clarinet players. So you do want to avoid having your fingers lifted up far away from your instrument. It's also a nice way to lower your pitch. You can open up the back of your throat and have an aw feeling like you're yawning. That will lower your pitch as well. Put your hand in front of your face and blow warm air onto your hand. That is how you can get that feeling of the aw in your playing. Opening up the back of your throat and getting that warm air. Another way to lower your pitch is to drop your jaw. Keep that good embouchure, drop your jaw down. That opens up your oral cavity and that'll lower your pitch as well. It also has the added benefit if you are one of the people that bites when you play, then that will prevent that as well. If you find you need to raise your pitch, we have a number of techniques that we can use there. And big surprise, a lot of them are the opposite of what we were just talking about with lowering the pitch. One of the best things that you can do is speed up your airstream. Just like I had you hold your hand up before and blow the warm air on it, let's blow the cold air on it. So you're going to support with your abs just like you're always doing anyway, and you're going to raise your tongue position in the back like you're saying E. This is what we refer to a lot of times as voicing, how we control the oral cavity when we play the clarinet, where we put our tongue and what position the back of our tongue is in is our voicing. So you want to have an E tongue position, like you're saying ew to bring forward to your good embouchure, or my personal favorite, hiss like a cat. That's a great way to get that feeling of the E. Once you get that E going, I want you to drive that air into your hand, and it should feel a little bit colder, especially compared to the big open warm air. That faster air will raise your pitch. So a lot of times when I'm working with younger students that are having sagging pitch, which happens to a lot of us in the beginning, just by saying E, that brings that pitch right up. In addition to having your E tongue position, you can raise your fingers a little bit if you need to. Ideally, we don't do that. It's not a great habit to be in, but in a pinch, it'll work to help bring your pitch up. Another thing that you can do is you can push in a little bit with your bottom lip and your jaw into that reed, pushing that reed against your mouthpiece, making it vibrate faster. That will bring up your pitch. If playing louder lowers your pitch, what is playing quieter going to do? Yes, if you said it was going to raise your pitch, you are right. So if you need to get that pitch a little bit higher, back off a bit, play a little bit quieter in there, and that will raise your pitch also. So you're making the adjustments to play sharper or to play flatter depending on what your needs are. And if you're consistently playing sharp or you're consistently playing flat, there are ways to adjust the length of your instrument so that you don't have to be constantly making all of these physical adjustments. If you find that you are playing sharp, you can pull out from your barrel, your middle joint, and from your bell, depending on where you are sharp the most frequently. So if you pull out here from your barrel, just twist and turn a little bit until you find the spot that works for you. Everybody's a little bit different in here. And even though this will lower the pitch of your whole clarinet, it really does affect your throat tone area and your upper joint the most. If you find that you pull out here in the barrel and you're flat in your throat tone area and your upper joint, you can pull out from the middle here instead and push back in at the barrel to make sure that you are more in tune throughout your instrument. When you pull out from this middle joint in here, make sure that you line up your bridge key very carefully so that you don't have any leaks here with your 1-in-1 fingering. If you find that your B over the break is sharp or your low E, you can pull out here, also at your bell. If you're playing flat, the first thing you need to do is double check that you're pushed in all of the way. Make sure your barrel's pushed in, your middle joint, and your bell. If you are pushed in all the way and you've raised your tongue position for the E, you've got a great embouchure, your hands are in a good position, and you're consistently flat, don't worry, you have a lot of options on how to fix that. Double check your reed strength. If your reed is a little too light for you, it will drop your pitch. So go ahead and try a half step harder reed. If you switch to the half step harder reed, you may find that you have to go through an adjustment period to get used to it. The harder reeds tend to play a little bit more stuffy and they aren't quite as flexible. If you find that you are not able to comfortably get out of that adjustment period, go back to the reed strength you were using before. A lot of times I have found that even though people return to their previous reed strength that they were playing a little flat on, they're now playing better in tune, more sharp, because they've gotten it into their ear and now they play a little bit higher. If the reed strength is where you want it to be and that hasn't helped raise your pitch, I want you to double check your barrel length. A lot of times barrels are too long for players. That's why we have so many barrel choices out there. I, for instance, am playing on a 65 millimeter length barrel because a 66 millimeter barrel was too flat for me. I used to play on a 64 millimeter in the past. So be flexible with the length of your barrel too, depending on the model and brand of clarinet that you are using. You can also double check your mouthpiece. Mouthpieces do have different tunings. There are A440 mouthpieces, A442 mouthpieces. So try a different mouthpiece, see if that raises your pitch also. Please double check your tone holes. Tone holes get a lot of gunk in them through the years. You always want to make sure that you're maintaining and cleaning your clarinet properly. If you have anything in those tone holes, that will also affect your pitch, but it's easy to clean with a Q-tip or a very soft pipe cleaner. And if you don't want to do it, you can always find a repair tech that'll do it for you. Thank you for watching. Comments, questions, post them below. Don't forget to hit that clarinet hand icon so you don't miss the next video, and happy clarinetting. Bye.